Finally remembered. And we decide, oh, I've got to get this done. Like, that's more important than getting the dog to behave. And it's not. Staying in a public place with your dog acting like they shouldn't be acting is not, it just is not a thing. You should exit. When you realize it's a problem, you should exit and try. If you can get them under control, maybe it was just that they had to go to the bathroom. Maybe it was that they saw something that startled them or whatever. Once you deal with that, if you feel like the dog is okay and you can go back in, great. But if not, then I guess you'll have to do your grocery shopping another time or whatever you're doing. But if you have the dog with you, your main focus is the dog. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions? Anything something I said that didn't make sense?
No.
Okay, we find that that's extremely important. And so I'm just going to use our training at the mall. Our training at Millennium Mall recently was really good. Our dogs were pretty good. And I actually traded somebody. I had Wasabi, I think, and I traded with another dog. And that dog was pretty upset that his person had gone away from him. And so I had to just get him really focused back on me and what I was doing until he finally calmed down somewhat. If he had continued, I probably would have walked out of the mall and tried to do some engagement tasks with him or commands with him, but he did settle somewhat, but he was upset. So that's another thing that you could do is if you wanted to get together with another raiser and trade dogs for half an hour or whatever. If you want, you are more than welcome to do your own little training sessions. You know the commands, you know what to do, you know the places our dogs need to go. So if you have somebody that lives near you, it will be wonderful for the dogs to go out and for you to trade. At first, the dog is not going to be happy because you're their person right now. But if you give them a few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just settle in and go, and then I would walk away from each other immediately. This is just a suggestion. I realize that a lot of us live in different parts of the state. I happen to be fortunate enough. I live around quite a few raisers. And so I can get together with people. But it's really nice if you can trade and work with a different dog and just see how that dog is. So we have tried to do that at a couple of trainings, and we should really try it again, but it's a thought. But just really being mindful of making your dog behave when they're out. It was something that went along with that. Anything anybody wants to add?
No.
Anything? No?
No.
No?
I don't even know. Can anybody hear me?
Yes. Nancy?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm new to this, so I'm not sure who can hear me or not.
We can hear you. Did you have a question or a comment?
No, I was just making sure somebody could hear me. And
okay. Yes. All right. Anybody else? Question, comment? Okay. So just being mindful when you're out that your dog is behaving. That's the big thing. That's super important. Also, that your dog is groomed well. That when you take them out, they don't smell like yesterday's garbage or poop that they sat in or whatever. That's also important. And that they're brushed and just groomed well. That's another way that we represent New Horizons, and we want to make sure that our dogs look good and represent well. So I think that, I mean, every time I've ever seen our dogs, they look beautiful, but it's a reminder, especially for new people who have just gotten puppies or have just gotten a new prison dog. It's just real important.
And some of you who got prison dogs, you may notice that they have what we call Grinch feet. Lots of the inmates don't have access to tools that they need to be able to trim that hair between their toes. If your dog is sliding on especially a prison dog, look under their pads because sometimes that hair gets really long. If you're not confident or comfortable trimming that hair yourself, reach out to Wendy or me or somebody at New Horizons, or let us know in the next training, somebody can bring their scissors and we can meet you outside.
Yes.
Laura, this is Kate. I have a Samoa. He is
Mhm.
6 months old.
Mhm.
What do you, that hair, what do you, what scissors do you use? Like what type of scissors?
I've just been using hair cutting scissors that my husband does on my hair.
You're not-
I recently purchased an Amazon grooming set that was $25, and because Wendy has this pair of scissors that curve, and that makes it's really nice, really easy to do that top of the foot with those. You pull that hair up, and then it just trims off really nicely. You can turn them away from the dog on the bottom of their pads, and that way you don't risk cutting them.
Yep.
Okay.
I got my
Thank you.
scissors I got my scissors on Zoom. No,
I was just gonna say that too.
Amazon. So, and they're bent at the tip, and mine are,
Mine are like Megan's and have the little safety things on the end so that they're not pointy.
yeah, that's how mine are. And then these are thinning scissors. So they have little teeth. There we go, little teeth. And I do the hair on the back of their butts. If they're super furry, you should not be cutting their fur with these scissors or regular scissors. These are for their feet. We don't cut their fur. We don't cut the back of their tail, the tail. We don't cut anything.
Hey, Wendy.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm just dandy. How are you?
I'm made it as far as Ormond and just did 3,000 or 3,500 miles.
Nice.
Anyhow, they're called thinning shears.
Thank you. Yep, they are called
you
thinning
can-
shears.
You want to use thinning shears on the dog's feet, because then if you really, it doesn't look obvious that you've cut them. And then their
Right.
phone's talking. The thinning shear, you can use the straight edge underneath,
Yeah.
but then a thinning shear is to get the gruff away.
Right.
There you
So,
go.
okay.
The thinning shears are also good for their ears, are right, the tops of their ears when they get real bushy. And if you just use the thinning shears, it will thin them down, and then you can use like a 4-inch
There.
pair of scissors
Hey.
that puts them around the edge, and that cleans it up.
I have a question.
Okay. Hi,
Hi,
Shelley.
I'm Shelley. I'm new. I have Reef. Regarding grooming, we
Hey.
wanted to take him to get groomed, but they need all his vaccination records. Where would I be able to get access to that?
From Kate. Call Kate in the office or
And
email
she
her.
can email it to me? Okay. That's all.
Yep.
Thank you.
I think he got into honey.
Yes. Okay, so we
Speaking of,
started that
sorry.
conversation because,
Wendy, I'm gonna tell him one more thing. If you're going to a groomer's, tell them just to trim the feet and ears, nothing else. Don't let them give them a sanitary. Don't let them just trim them up. Groomers love to cut.
yes.
Just tell them just do the feet and ears,
Yes.
and leave the rest of it alone.
Okay,
You
gotcha.
just answered my question. I was just about to say, wait, what do we say? Because right now, Sage, we don't have them cut her at all. Like they just bathe her and cut her nails and clean her ears. So thank you for that. Because I was gonna be like, well, what do we say if we want your feet cut? Or okay, thanks.
So feet.
Yeah, he was a little matted around the belly area, so I was just gonna have them trim that because I can't brush it. It's like matted. Is that okay?
Why is he matted?
I don't
He
know.
came out of prison. He came out of
Yes.
prison, and that's
Oh.
possibly why. So have you tried to use a comb to maybe get through those mats first?
I have not, because they're pretty like, and it's not a lot, but he has a few like big knots and I'm afraid that it'll hurt him. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
But it's just around the belly area where you can't see if it's trimmed. So is that okay?
Right. I would think so. Yes.
Okay.
No,
Hold.
try to,
So how do you want them to take the mats out?
well, they can use a comb and cut just like into it a little bit so that it loosens it up. There's also a thing that's called a dematter. It's got little teeth on it that can help break up a mat instead of it looking obvious that it's called a dematter.
Dematter.
Okay.
I usually use a comb. I take the end of like a really fine comb and I just comb through it and break it apart with my hands. And usually they'll come apart. Every once in a while you get one that won't, but it just, it depends on the mats.
There's a product called Cowboy Magic that can be put on mats and it helps lubricate the mat, and a lot of it at that point can be brushed out. Some still may need a certain kind of the vertical cut into the mat, not across from the skin. But the Cowboy Magic really does help take out a lot of tangles. Or if there's fur that has enough texture to it that it always pulls, putting some of that in there, you spread it on your hands and then rub it into the fur. And it can make the combing go through a lot easier.
Human conditioner does that too.
Yeah.
I've used human conditioner on.
Well, the Cowboy Magic is made that you don't have to rinse it out. Sometimes the human conditioner can be a little bit oily to leave in the fur. And it's an equine product, but it doesn't smell. It's perfectly clear. My daughter-in-law uses it on her grandchild. Her daughter. Oh, my birds. And she has very long blonde hair. And so sometimes, with a 5-year-old, they can get it matted. And she uses that product and it helps out tremendously.
Okay, so that whole conversation started because we were talking about making sure your dog was groomed well, or at least looks good, doesn't smell when you take them out. So be aware of that, okay? Just like you wouldn't go out without your teeth brushed or whatever, hopefully. So same type of thing, just be aware of your dog. Okay, so is Etta on yet? Etta, are you here?
I saw her.
You saw her?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yep, okay. So Etta
I'm here.
Okay, hi Etta. How long do you think you and Megan will need to talk to breeders? Etta?
6 hours.
No.
6 hours.
No. So while you're
I don't know.
talking, while you're talking to the breeders, just giving them some general information that they might need, I'm going to be talking to our raisers about the retrieval sequence. So the breeders don't necessarily need to know that. So that's not going to take me 6 hours. So maybe, can we say 15 minutes? Yes? Is 15 minutes good, Etta? Give me a thumbs up. Yes? 15 or 20, somewhere in there? Yes? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, at the most.
Okay, so Brittany.
Yeah, about 15.
Okay, Brittany, you can go ahead and split us up.
Okay, so I just want to read off the names and make sure that I have all the breeders. I'm only laughing because now I'm seeing messages of, okay, so I have right now, and then I'll add, I have Clover, Elsa, Emerald, Gamora, Tahiti / Panera, Megan and Scuba, Nancy, and then I have Chuck Brandon has a breeder. Lisa Lewis said she has a breeder and a prison dog. Which group would you like me to put?
Where is Lisa? Lisa, have you had the breeder for a while, or is the breeder new to you?
I just got him on Saturday.
You just got the breeder or the prison dog?
The prison dog. We have Theodore.
Okay, but you've had the breeder for a while.
Yeah, I've had her for a year last month.
Okay, so is the prison dog your first dog raising for New Horizons, or have you raised other dogs?
No, he's my first dog that we're raising.
Okay.
He's 28 months.
Okay, then I would like you to stay with the non-breeder group this time.
Stella's doing good. She's doing much better than she was even a couple months ago. So
Okay, good. Okay,
we had Ben for a while as well, and he really helped her out. So
okay. So you stay with us and Brittany, so that answer your question?
Yeah, so I've added Pastel and Aubrey and Roanoke. Is there anything else, anybody else I need to add or take out? Speak now. Or
Brittany, put
wait.
me over in breeders.
Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the breeders to a breakout room and everybody else is going to stay in this room. So only the breeders are going to get a notification on their screen to join the room, and it will end automatically after 15 minutes and you'll get like a 1-minute warning.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Okay.
All right, 15 minutes. I better set my timer.
Thank you, tech guru. Woohoo!
Because that means I only got 15 minutes too, right, Boo? Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But it doesn't start till everybody's gone, right?
Brittany, did you see
Yes.
that there's a message from Kristen?
Oh, okay, I'll send.
She's on an iPhone.
Yep.
Okay, and if you're staying in my group,
Sorry.
you need a piece of paper and something to write with. Yes.
All right, Hartman, I'm going to give it maybe like 2 or 3 more minutes in case somebody else joins, then I'll make you the host so that you're in charge when they come back.
Oh
Okay,
no,
how do
give
I
her
move?
power.
Right? I feel like that's not right. Are we good? Okay, so while we're waiting for, I'm gonna just go ahead and start my timer. Okay. So
Wendy,
yes.
I haven't got moved yet. I don't
Oh,
know.
Etta,
how-
Brittany, sorry. Etta
I
needs
haven't got
to be
moved yet.
Okay, hold on.
That needs to be in there. That was my bad. So those of you that are with me, I want you to write down the retrieval sequence, what you say to a dog when you want them to retrieve something. Write down the sequence of words. No cheating, no looking in your puppy manual. What would you say to your dog when you want them to pick something up? Write it down. Do you see Etta, Brittany?
Yeah, I moved her. She just joined it, so she should be good.
Okay, is there anybody in our room that shouldn't be here? Must be not. Oh no, Laura, you're not getting away. So if you didn't hear me, you're writing down the retrieval sequence, what you would say to your dog if you want them to get something. Write down the commands.
Lay down,
If
Wasabi.
you don't know, that's okay. Oh, look at somebody
Lay
already
down.
put their thing in. Oh, they even added markers. Ooh. Ooh, look at you guys. Yeah, so I was gonna write down markers too, and then I thought, oh, that's an extra, but yes. Okay. All right, so if you're on camera, go ahead and show us what you got. So it should be look, get it, bring it, hold, and give. That's what it should be. And in between there, if you put markers, excellent. Because as soon as you get them to look at it, look, get it. Yes, you want to give them, you want to praise them. As soon as they go down, start to get it. Okay, then bring it. Yes, good job. And then a lot of people are going to need hold. Oh, nope, I don't want to do that. You're going to need to say hold to the dog because some of our dogs want to drop it before they get it to you. So hold is something you can teach, and you can teach all of these in isolation. Some dogs, especially our prison dogs, know all of them. They know the retrieval sequence. And so we just want you practicing. Some of our recipients of dogs don't need retrieve, but a lot of our recipients do. And so those prison dogs coming out of prison should know the retrieval sequence. Sometimes we skip a command. So we might say, look, and then if we say look, and the dog immediately goes to get it, and they've already got it in their mouth before we even get to get it, then you could skip to bring it. It's nice to go through this to make sure that they understand them all, okay? And you definitely want to use your markers. So for those of you maybe that might be new, your markers are, yes, good job, that's it.
That's it.
And we want to be excited when we tell them that. If we sound boring, it's going to be boring to them, okay? So anybody have any questions about just that? I'm going to show you some videos, but anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so if you didn't know that, that's something you're going to need to go back in your puppy manual and refer to so that you know it, because you say the same thing every time. Did somebody say they had a question?
I do.
Okay.
I do too. I was in the grocery with Theodore today, and I dropped my shopping list. Should I have him practice that in the grocery?
Absolutely.
I think I should just do it at home.
Yep.
Okay.
Every time you drop something, and when you don't drop something, the thing about that though is you're going to have to be okay with if he eats it. If he puts it in his mouth and you get it and it's like all slobbery, because I mean, they have pretty soft mouths. And if you tell them get it, they try to be gentle with it, but sometimes, especially if it's paper, doesn't always work out. So I would
You end up with 2 pieces of a $1 bill.
It was folded, the paper was folded up, and I bent over and picked it up, and I was like, oh, I think I missed a chance there that I could have had him, practice.
Yep. True. So you didn't miss it because hopefully you'll have another time.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Yes, excellent question.
Thank you.
Question.
Yes.
Okay.
I keep hearing about a puppy manual, but I don't have one, never heard of one. I asked Kate, but I don't have one.
Okay, so I would email Kate and remind her you've got a new prison dog and you need a puppy manual. You have to have one. Yes. I
did.
You did? Okay, well, she'll get it.
And Kate is on here tonight, so she'll get the word.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, it's important that if you're a new person, that you have a manual, or that you, even if they send it to you digitally, but that you go through it and you really look at it, because there's some really good information in it. Information that all of us have to have. We repeat a lot of it on these trainings. However, it's good. That's not good. You need to have it and read it. That's just.
New manual is a big improvement over the last one. I've been going through it quite a lot, and it really has a lot of information, more than we've had before.
Yes. Yes. And I don't think everybody has the new one yet. So hopefully we'll get that out soon. Yes, but it does, because I've seen it. Okay. So here are any other questions about that? All right. So I'm going to show you 2 videos.
How new is the new one?
Pretty new.
Mine's 2.5 years old.
No, there's a brand new one out. No, yours is probably older than that, Kenny.
Well, then I'm doing it wrong.
Not necessarily. No, I think there was just some updated information put in.
Okay, so I'm not really obsolete.
No, it's your manual that you have that I have is not obsolete. Just the new one gives us some more like additional information, and it's a little bit more concise. And it's
okay, perfect. Together. I'll have to get Kate to send me one, or next time I'm out there, I'll pick one up. Thanks.
So I'm going to show you Cheryl Williams with Rollins and Surfer was nice enough to do a video of Surfer. Surfer will be a year old, and we're going to watch him do the retrieve command inside and then outside. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I need to share my screen first. Okay. Share my screen. Where'd you all go?
We're here.
I know I see you. Okay, so let's see if, all right. Do you see the video?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so here we go.
Okay, surfer, look, get it. Hold, give. Excellent.
Okay, we're gonna watch it one more time.
Okay, surfer, look, get it. Hold, give. Excellent.
Okay, so what are some things you noticed or heard? Anybody?
He brought it. He brought it, but she didn't tell him to.
Right, right. Yep, he brought it because he was already on his way, and the hold command helped him remember to hang on to it until she had a hold of it and could take it from him. Because if some of our dogs will drop it on the floor, just they feel like, okay, I brought it, there it is, it's on the floor, you get it. So at that point, you don't want to pick it up. You want to tell them again, go through the retrieval command again if your dog drops it on the ground. Don't let them get away with that, because we need our dogs to be actually bringing it to us and getting it to the point where they can put it in our hands. So if you need to reset the dog or whatever you need to do, get them to the point where they can bring it to you and hold it and place it in your hand. Okay, we're going to watch it one more time.
Okay, surfer, look, get it. Hold, give. Excellent.
Okay, so this dog has got the retrieval. He's got it. He knows what to do. Some of our other dogs might need a little bit more encouragement. So she was able to say, look, get it together. Right after that, if he wasn't quite getting it, she could have used markers. She didn't need to because Surfer had it. Okay. And then she praised him at the end. Okay, we're going to watch the next one. Hold on. So this is Surfer outside.
Come on, come, surfer, come.
Wait a second.
Okay, surfer.
Nope. Okay.
Wait. Okay, surfer. Look. Surfer, come on. Come, surfer, come. That's it. Get it. That's it. That's it. Good boy. Get it. Get it. Hold. 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 Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Turn around. Thank you. Good.
Oh my gosh, so cute. Okay, so we're gonna watch it just one more time. See what you pick up, maybe what you have to do differently with your dog because they're not quite here yet.
Wait. Okay, surfer. Look. Surfer, come on. Come. Surfer, come. That's it. Get it. Get it. That's it. Get it. Get it. Hold. 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 Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Turn around. Give. Thank you. Good.
Okay, so the goal when we do retrieval is not, we don't want to be bending down to the dog, which Cheryl didn't. The dog stood there, he lifted up his head, and she took the paper from him. So that's what we're looking for. You don't want to be bending down to the dog. You want to have them bring it to you and kind of get it towards your hands. That's always the goal. Any questions about that or something maybe you notice you need to do differently with your dog?
I have a question again. What if you say give it, drop it, and they don't give it? You have to say it multiple times and they're still holding on to it.
So you have to be firm. If they're holding on to an item and you say the dog's name, so-and-so give, then I would wait, give them some think time. Don't say give, 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 give. Just say their name, tell them to give, and give them some think time about it. If they start to even loosen their mouth to give it, then reward, yes, that's it, good job. And then chances are they'll let it go. They know how to give. But like with a ball, it's really hard. I know Hess has a very difficult time.
That's Axel.
Letting go of a ball. And I have to be super firm with him. Hess, give. And then he'll like, you can feel him just starting to release his jaws. And as soon as he does that, I'm like, yes, good job. That's it. And then at that point, he wants to please me more than keeping the ball in his mouth, and he'll let go. It's not a open his mouth wide. It's just a, okay, all right. You're rewarding me. You're praising me. I'll give it to you. So a lot of our dogs, especially that are ball crazy. Let's see. Does anybody need to see those again? I can post those on our Facebook, on our friends page. So they're there. Cheryl, thank you so much for doing those. Those were great. He's awesome. You're awesome. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hold on. And did everybody come back?
Wendy, Katie has a question.
Okay.
Hey, we have Cairo. On the retrieval sequence, he more often than not just could give a crap about actually picking up the item. Sometimes he'll go to it. He's a lab Great Dane mix, so
right.
I'm sure I could drop the treat like in the item I want him to pick up or on it, but he'll just get the treat and leave the item. Because he's older, what do you recommend for getting him to pick it up? Because he just doesn't care.
Has he picked up anything?
No. Not really. We're working on it. He's very emotionally in tune. He'll play tug of war, like he won't tug, and he's not picking up anything.
Interesting. Anybody?
Does he have a toy he really likes?
A dish towel.
Okay, then have him get a dish towel. Have him get something he really likes to get.
Yep.
Okay. So start with toys that he's interested in.
Yep. And really, really praise him. Really praise him. When he does pick it up and bring it to you, you really, like, we call it having a puppy party. Have a puppy party. Like, oh my God, Cairo, just really excited. Because that's super important. Yeah, that whole retrieval sequence is important. A lot of our dogs go to people who need to retrieve, not the people, but the dog. And so, yeah, so toys, I had a dog once who liked towels. So that's what we started with.
Yeah, we took him to Home Goods and he picked out his favorite toy. It's a hand towel tied in a knot. So
okay. All right.
Everybody's back, Wendy.
Okay. Anybody else deal with that?
When Cairo was a puppy, he would play with tennis balls. He would get them and bring them back and get them and bring them back hours.
Okay.
So tennis balls were his things.
Okay, we'll try that. He'll go for the soft toys before the tennis balls, but we'll definitely revisit tennis balls. Thank you.
Interesting.
When we brought Bravo back, and he was one of the prison dogs, he didn't seem to have a lot of experience with retrieving too many different types of objects. He'd retrieve a tennis ball all day long, but getting him to get anything else was difficult. So we started with, I basically took all the tennis balls away. He doesn't get a tennis ball anymore because that's all he would pay attention to. But so we started just using a variety of objects and playing a retrieve. He would see me throw it, and having me throw it seemed to spark more of a retrieval instinct than just having it set on the ground, and coming across it and telling him to pick it up. And we had a lot of success now. We can take him into some of the stores and we come across an object, usually some kind of piece of paper of some sort, a label, and I can get him to pick it up without too much difficulty.
The other thing is, anytime he picks up anything, oh, good, get it. even if it's something you don't want him to pick up. And that's really hard. He's got your glasses case. Oh, good dog. Good get it. Thank you. You do the quick sequence there and you get it out of their mouth. But anytime he picks up anything, do that positive reinforcement. We had one that was a golden, but they missed the retriever part somewhere in there. That you'd throw something and they'd look at it like, if you wanted it, why is it over there? I don't want it.
Yep.
Laura, that's a really good point because it's so easy to extinguish that retrieve drive by scolding them for picking up something they're not supposed to have. When you scold a dog for, picking up your favorite pair of shoes, these guys can be soft enough that they'll never pick up another thing.
Yep.
So that's a really good point.
That was in my notes. That was there. Good job, Laura.
I believe it.
Sorry, stole your thunder.
No, I can check it off. Yay. That's just important that we don't want to discipline them. Even our little puppies who have those, real pointy teeth. Anything they get, Wasabi had my glasses the other day, and unfortunately he had them for a little too long. Fortunately, they were Dollar General glasses. And so, but I heard them, like I heard a crunch and I was like, oh, what is that? And I knew it wasn't like any of his toys. I have no idea how he got them, but I did not discipline him. I went down and I said, oh, good boy, give. And he gave to me like, okay, whatever. And I ended up having to throw them away, but I didn't get upset with them because one, it probably was my fault. They were there somewhere where they shouldn't have been. And two, I certainly don't want to discipline him for putting something in his mouth that someday he may have to pick up for somebody. So keep that in mind, and you really do want to pay attention to where your stuff is. If you have something valuable, you might not want to leave it out because these guys do pick things up. And if it smells like you, they want it. So be aware.
Hey, another thing with Cairo, his favorite retrieval thing, I had 3 golf balls in a sock. He loved that. I would throw that and he would just go get it and bring it back for days. So something about the golf balls in an old sock was his retrieval toy.
Cool. Yeah. So if you have a dog that you notice isn't big on retrieve, find something that they are good at retrieving. Hopefully. Okay. So any questions on retrieve? That's kind of what we covered while y'all breeders were gone. Okay. The other thing that all of our dogs need to have is watch me. Super important that you get your dogs to watch me. When they're puppies, we use a lot of treats and putting up by our face and making sure that our watch me is, they're looking at us. So right now, Wasabi, when he sits for his food, he has to sit and wait and then watch me, and he can't eat until he reluctantly looks at me like, but as soon as he looks at me, I say, good, watch me. And so I'm reinforcing that behavior. So anytime your dog looks up at you, looks over at you, you make eye contact, tell them, good, watch me. That we really need our dogs to have that. Sometimes that will be a life-saving device. Your dog is going to do something naughty and you say, so-and-so, watch me. And as soon as they look at you, it breaks whatever they were, stops them from doing whatever they were going to do. But yeah, so if you have a puppy, that's something you're working on. If you just recently got a prison dog, something you should be working on. Some of our dogs are great at it and others need some work. So be mindful. That's something you should be you're walking through the grocery store, I say, Hess, watch me. And he'll look up at me. Even if they just start to look, reward them, use those markers. They're very helpful. Distractions. Okay, so working on distance and duration and distractions. So let's say all of us are always working on sit and stay. So it should be sit and stay. Your dog should be able to sit and stay, especially those older dogs, for periods of time. Okay, so that's duration. So your older dogs, your prison dogs, it should be a minute or a minute and a half or to however long you want them to stay. And then distance, you should be able to walk a little bit away from them and not have them move. And then use distractions, And so with the puppies, you want to start close to them.
Really, really, really close.
You want to start close and using things that are distractions, but making them stay. The little puppies, you're probably going to have to hold it first. You're going to just have to stop them from moving, but they get it, and you do it real short. Short might be 3 seconds or 5 seconds. But every time you do it, the longer it gets. Laura, I noticed, what's his name? Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, he already knew to sit and wait for his food. Yes. This dog is 10 weeks old, and Laura has had him.
12.
Because,
He's 12 weeks old.
12 weeks old. Laura, normally we take a puppy and we go back and forth, but I'm just like, Laura, you got to handle this dog for a week. So tonight's my first night with him, and I was so impressed when I went to feed him. He sat, and then he waited. Like, I thought I was going to have to hold him. I was like, I don't even have to hold you. So just
I can't claim it. He was practically doing that when we got him. I just said, yes, good job.
There you go. Okay. So the distance, any command that you're working on, especially stay or wait, we want our dogs waiting everywhere, waiting for their food, waiting at the door, waiting before you pull them out of the car or allow them to unload. Any other places you can think of, they need to wait. Wait before you go into a store. Wait when you come out of the store. I mean, everywhere. That wait command, that dog should stop. And then you give him a second, and then, okay, let's go. When you open your front door, or whatever, those dogs should be in a wait position and be waiting. If that's something you are working on with your dog and you notice they're not doing it, don't open the front door while they're there, or leash them when you open the front door. Some days Wasabi has it and some days he doesn't. Quinnen has have it every time I open the door. Wasabi is back and forth. He's 6 months, so we're working on it. A lot of these are a work in progress. Your older prison dogs should have these commands, but now they're working with them on them with you outside of prison in different situations. So there's all kinds of these distractions. So use them to your advantage. Be patient with these dogs, especially if you've just gotten a prison dog in the last week or so. I guess some went out. Be patient with them. They're getting to know you. You're getting to know them. They need time. You need time. Doesn't mean they don't know their commands. They still can mind, but they need time to acclimate themselves to your home, to your environment, to the places you go, and just being patient with them. I mean, like you would with a little kid.
It's a really important time, though, to establish yourself as their boss.
Yes.
If they drag you down out of the car and across to the door, they've decided, oh, you don't know the drill. This is how we do it, and you're going to have to snap them back and say, nope, heel. And you may have to do the wait for them to get in position again. But yes, they're new to you, but you have to be their boss. And we all want to be friends and go, oh, it's your new place, but you got to be firm or they'll rule the roost.
Laura, me again. These dogs may know these commands perfectly in prison, but they may have never done it on carpeting. They may have never done it where the dishwasher is running. They may have never done it where there's kids squealing. That's why they come out of prison, because for that socialization, because they may not have experienced it.
Yep.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Today, when I took Theodore to the grocery store, they had like a temporary fence that was fabric, like black fabric. And I took him to go busy before we went into the store. And the fabric blew in the wind and it scared him. And he startled and he kind of ran backwards. I had him tied on the leash. So I just brought him back and I said, it's okay, it's a fence. It's not going to hurt you. Is that what I'm supposed to do? How do I get him comfortable with that noise?
So we don't.
I would.
Oh, go ahead, Jan.
If some dogs will come out and it'll be totally spooky. You can use some plastic bags hanging around your house, And you don't want to comfort them. You don't want to say, oh, it's okay, that bag isn't going to hurt you, or that fence isn't, because they're hearing the words of praise. So,
Okay.
oh, it's no big deal. Be more matter of fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't force that dog to go up to it. Just even go sit where he's comfortable and wait 5 or 10 minutes and just let him watch it for a minute.
Yeah, that's what I did. I kind of just, after it startled him, I said, you know, whoa, it's okay. It's just a fence. And then we kind of just sat there and watched it for a little while.
Perfect.
And then I walked him down the fence to see if he had to use the bathroom. And then he didn't jump again. And then we went into the store. But I just wasn't sure, like, do I sit there and let it happen again to see?
Yep. Or you
Okay.
can walk away and come back to it.
Okay.
I do that a lot. If they act like they're afraid of something, I'll be like, okay, let's go. We'll go and do whatever we got to do, and then we'll come back to it later.
Okay.
You know, get balloons. Go, you know, when you go to Publix, buy a couple balloons.
Okay.
Those are things moving. You know, hanging some
noise.
plastic bags outside your door where the wind's going to catch it. Those
Okay.
are all socialization possibilities.
Okay. Okay. That's the first time he's like jumped at something. So I've taken an opportunity to kind of let him see it over and over again, but maybe I should do it more at home, try and make that noise at home.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. When I do my garbage bags or whatever, I'll take my garbage bags and purposely do it over and over again in front of the dogs just to see what they'll do. And usually at this point, they're like, oh, what are you doing, you ding dong? But they don't pay. But some dogs are like, woo, they go the other way. So it's good just if you see that you've exposed your dog to something and they've got that and there is a reaction, then you want to figure out how to re-expose them over and over until there's no reaction. They're like, oh, okay.
Okay, so I should take a bag at home and just make the noise and then
sure,
just get used to it. But I don't comfort him when he's scared of the noise. I just do what I said to him, like, you're okay. I don't even say you're okay. I just keep making the noise.
Nope, just I say things like, oh, look at the balloons, like just talking about balloons, or look at it's a garbage bag. Oh my goodness. Like, you know, we kind of make it fun. My voice is fun. I don't ever say it's okay. You're all right. We leave out you're all right, or it's okay, or you're fine. All the words that are comforting to us, we don't say to them. I just make like it's fun. Look what we're doing. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then if the dog acts like he's scared, really, then stop and come back to it the next day, and then do it the next day, and then do it and eventually he'll be like, or she will be like, no big deal.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Get used to it. Yeah. I had to do that with the Publix bins. I think I've talked to you guys. I just go and I tap on the bins outside, the recycling bins, over and over and over again, because that's a really loud noise. And sometimes they'll stand there and do nothing. And sometimes if it's a new dog, they'll be like, what are you doing? And so I just do it. And then we go and do what we got to do. And we come back to it. So I use those a lot because those are super loud. Anything that we want that startle reflex to our dogs to not have it. So dropping pans or dropping things on the floor, just different things that might surprise them. You just do over and over again.
We had a table fall over yesterday in the living room, and Thanos, the pup, was like, who knocked it over, was like, oh, look at that. Wrangler was like a cat and leapt from the floor to me, and that we don't want that. You know, that's a no-no. Right. But boy, that was his response. He was startled, he was scared, and he was right on me, just literally vertical elevation.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about duration of your stays, your waits, your down stays, duration. So it's the length of time, the distance. You want it to be, you want to practice going a little bit away from them, and then distractions. So a distraction should start at home. You take an animal and you take squeaky toys are great to have to use as a distraction to get them so that they're not jumping up and down to get the toy. And other things that you can use as a distraction, because our dogs go out a lot and they're going to see things, people, if they're under a table, people walking by the table or little kids running by the table. We want to get them used to that. So distance, duration, and distractions whenever you're working on a lot of our commands. We talked
It
about
went-
me. Yes.
Wait a minute, my husband has a question.
Okay.
With the staying part and duration, all right, I could get Roomba like to sit and stay, and I back up a little. Now, do I call her to me and give her a treat, or do I go to her and give her the treat for staying?
So I like to go back to the dog.
Okay,
I go back to the dog and then release them and give them a treat.
okay,
But if you
'Cause I-
practice wait, they can come to you.
right.
Wendy,
Okay.
guys, the other thing is set the pups up for success. If you know they can only, can do 3 feet at this point, don't go 5.
Right.
Go 3
Right.
feet and set them up. The distractions should meet the level of training that the pup has.
Right.
Don't have him stay and go 15 feet away if you know he's going to break that stay after 3 feet.
Right.
That won't happen yet. But I got a couple, but I just wanted to know if it's okay to call her to me and give her a treat, or if I should go to her and give her the treat for
So
staying.
Janet, with stay, does it matter? I mean, I know I go back to the dog with stay, but with wait, I call them to me. Does it matter?
No,
Okay.
you can do a stay and then you can practice the come.
Right.
Okay. So there you go.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Uh,
Oh, go-
Actually, I had a question before, when it was just the breeders. And I was muted, but, they said something about the breeders don't clear something, then the dog just stays with the owner. We were just a little confused on that. Like if they don't have.
I'm back. There's clearances that we do on all of our breeders. We do hips, elbows, eyes, and heart are the 4 minimum ones. If they don't pass that, they have good hips, we release them from the program. That's why we keep as many breeders, so that we aren't without dogs if a breeder doesn't pass. So if a dog doesn't get good hip scores, doesn't get their eyes cleared, then we release the dog and it's owned by you.
Nancy, unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah, I didn't hear that the last time we were doing the breeder conversation, so.
Now, does size?
It's in your, size doesn't matter, but it's in your contract. If you go back and read, if they don't pass their clearances, then the ownership is turned over.
Okay, yeah, because we're a little concerned about Roomba. She's not getting very big, so we don't know if that's gonna be an issue for her or.
Not necessarily. How much does she weigh?
We were at the vet yesterday. She's 52.6 pounds.
And how old is she?
10 months.
She's a lab.
Yeah,
Nine.
Yeah. And breed standard for labs could be 55 to 60 pounds for females. So
Okay.
it doesn't
She's not
necessarily
large in
mean.
body or length. She's just a little stouter than I think she's
She
English lab.
looks like her mother.
Oh, does she? Okay. Well, I've never seen the
Short,
mother.
squat. Yes. You need
Oh,
to see her mother. She looks just like her mother.
Ah, I see how it is. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay, the last thing I want to address before we let you off, I'm trying to keep us to a little over an hour, is treats. So if you have a puppy, 0 to 8 weeks to 8 months, maybe you're using treats, maybe even 6 months. I mean, Wasabi's 6 months, and I'm starting to kind of not treat him as often in regards to practicing. If we're doing a new task that he's not done, I will use treats. But if it's something we've done a lot, like sit or down or stay, I don't use treats as often. So the goal is to, the rate at which you reward the better they are at a skill, the less you should reward them with a treat. So the goal is to pull away treats as they get older, and it should just be all praise. Yay, good job, good dog, nice job, yes, so proud of you, pat him on the head. But we really want to go away from treats because some of our dogs are getting older and they're still expecting treats when they do something. So if you see your dog, go through their commands, see what they know, the stuff they know really good, you don't need to treat them for that. You just need to praise them and love them and pat their head and give them a hug or whatever. But if there's skills that they don't know, or they're just practicing, you know, when you fill out your evaluation, I think it's 0 to 4. 0, they've never done it, and 4, they do it with no problem. So think about that when you're working on a skill. Where is your dog, and do they really need a treat? If they're at 0, 1, and maybe a 2, they might still need a little bit of reinforcement. That's food, because a lot of our dogs are food motivated. But at 3 and 4, they should be doing those skills just with you telling them how awesome they are. Great job, super, yes, getting excited. A lot of it is our dogs live on how excited you are that they're doing something. I know Hess gets so happy when I just talk to him like, oh, good job, buddy. And he's like, oh yeah, that was me. So, but he's 2.5. And he's able to do most of his commands. I don't think I ever treat him unless it's just a treat I'm giving to all the dogs in my house. So keep that in mind. You know how old your dog is. You should be going through your commands on a regular basis. There's lots of places just in your house to practice a command. If you normally practice in the living room, go in the bathroom one night and practice with them. If you normally do it in the kitchen, go in your garage and do it. I mean, just change your places, change up the variables, change up where you are. Don't do it in the same place all the time, and really be mindful of the treats, that how much of the treats you're giving them. It can be that you're using kibble, but you still don't want to treat them when they can do a command. They can do sit and down and whatever. Don't continue to treat them for those things that they do well. Pull that away and only treat them for things that they're learning new or that they're not quite getting perfectly. So that's something to just be aware of. Do we have any questions about that?
Wendy, can I add my 2 cents?
Oh, I suppose.
So, one of the reasons why is like for somebody like myself, I've got bad hands. So I can't, it's so hard for me to try to do a treat. It's 9 times out of 10 it's on the floor. And a lot of our clients are that way. And sometimes these dogs have not been weaned off treats well enough that they end up going to a client, and the client's only way that they can get the dog to do what they need him to do is pulling out treats to start bribing. So all of my dogs for the last 30 years have never had a treat for training. It's all been voice. And Goldens and Labs just live for your praise. So don't become too dependent on those treats. Use your voice. Be happy. Make it a party.
Yes. Use that high squeaky voice. If you're talking to your dog like this and they are not responding, I can understand why. Okay? You have to be happy, Yes, come. Yes, good boy. Good job. Wasabi, give. I mean, you got to make it happy. All the dogs are coming to me now. Hi, everybody. So just think about it and really start. You guys who have prison dogs should really be weaning those dogs off treats, and really getting more into your voice commands. It's all about your voice, how happy you are, how happy you're making them, how happy they're making you. So we've covered a lot tonight. I did want to go back all the way to the beginning to anyone who might have missed it. Being mindful when you are out with your dog, whether it's a breeder dog, whether it is a service dog in training, please make sure that you are making your dog behave. Whether you're in the grocery store, the airport, Walgreens, wherever you are, the movie theater, be sure your dog is behaving. And if you know when they're not, somebody else may not notice it, but when they're not behaving, take them out, give them a little break. Maybe they need something, maybe they saw something, just deal with it and then maybe go back. Maybe don't go back, but just be sure that you are making your dogs behave, because you are representing New Horizons. Those dogs are representing our organization, and we want to be sure that people are walking away going, wow, look at that dog. One of the best things you can do, especially like if you're out and the dog comes out like at a restaurant and then somebody says, oh my gosh, I didn't even know there was a dog under there. Well, duh. That's what we want to hear. That's the kind of compliments, those are compliments. So we want to be sure that our dogs are behaving. You know, you're in some place and you're like, oh, I really need to get this done. When your dog is with you, they are the priority. That's just the way it is. That's you made the commitment, you took a dog, and now you got to follow through with it. And one of those ways is making sure that the dog is behaving. If you need to run out to the store and you don't have time to deal with the dog, don't take them. Okay. Be sure though that you're getting some training in every day, whether it's training at home or you're taking them on an outing. They need those outings. You know, if you need to just go sit in front of a Target for a little while and just let them see people, just be sure you're getting that training in, but that they're out there and they're behaving themselves. Keep them well groomed. Make sure they don't smell like things that you don't want your dog to smell like. And so those are a couple of things we covered at the beginning. I just think they're really important. If you don't have a manual for whatever reason, you're new to puppy raising, you're new to prison dog raising, and you don't have a manual, you know, they are very busy in the office, but just keep bugging them until you get one. You need to have a manual. I had mine. I always have mine, and I showed up, and I don't know what I did. It's around here. I kind of carried it around the house with me. So there's lots of good, there you go. Thank you, Laura. Lots of good information. I know a couple of you've got a new one. I know the new ones are going out, but just make sure you get a manual. It's got all the stuff you need in it. It's just going over what we go over when we're on trainings. And this is kind of good because then people can ask questions. Okay, we got 2 minutes before I cut us off. So anybody have questions that they need to ask real quick? We will have a Q&A in, I think, a week and a half, 2 weeks or something. But if you have questions tonight, we're on here. Go ahead.
Remember, practice stairs. Stairs are good. Elevators are good. Escalators, bad.
Bad. Escalators.
Never, ever, ever escalator.
Right.
Stairs, all different kinds of stairs. Thanos attacked stairs at Wendy's school. Going downstairs already.
Yeah.
Stairs you can see through. Wrangler had some trepidation with a set of stairs he could see through. So try different kinds of stairs. Be aware on in an elevator that that the dog and you're blocking the door. There's not a chance for the dog to go in and you're behind where the doors could close. That would be bad. You don't want to be in and the dog is out and the door's closed. That would be bad. You go in with the dog so that your body is blocking the door, but never, ever, ever an escalator.
Yes, thank you, Laura. Jessica, I just read your message. Okay, so is it an inside or an outside concert? Just curious.
It's an outdoor concert.
Okay, so I took Harry quite a while ago to a concert in Tampa outside, and we just went and he sat at my feet and that was it. I mean, I didn't do anything for him.
Okay.
So except the only thing I did do was we did stand outside for a little bit when I think they play music. We did stand outside of the stadium for a little bit and just let him listen to see, and he didn't respond. He didn't care. So I was like, okay, well, I think he's gonna be fine. And he was fine. So I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
Sounds good. I just wasn't sure because it's really loud if they needed anything for their ears, but that's okay. Sounds good.
Yep. Any other questions for the good of the group? So I want to say,
yeah. I have a question about the evaluations. When we send those in, does anybody read them or look at them?
I would assume yes, they absolutely do. They look through them. They're helpful, especially when the dog is going on and getting ready to go to advanced training and when the dog is getting ready to be placed. So yes, they do get read.
Okay.
And if you feel like there's something in there that should be read and you want to make sure they see it, then shoot Kate or somebody an email. Kate or Jen, either one of them, shoot them an email and just say, hey, I just put this in his eval or her eval. You need to make sure you read it. But yeah. Okay. They all come. I think they used to populate in the emails, and so they were right there to read. But yes, I would say yes. They get read and they're very helpful. So if you have something happen, even if you let New Horizons know, you still put it in the eval. I think there's like a little box where you can add things. Be sure you're putting it in there as well, even if you reach out to them separately.
What about passing on some of that information to somebody that gets a prison dog if they've had, you know, Bravo, we have Bravo, and I know he was out of prison for a couple of months before we got him. And he was apparently pulling the hair out of his tail. He had a very odd looking tail. And he also had a rather bad ear infection that really had him smelling really bad. And then neither of these conditions occurred when we had him. We noticed it the first day we got him. And I was just wondering, you know, something like that, I would have thought that somebody would have mentioned that he had these problems.
And he came out of prison?
Well, I don't know. That's the problem. Nobody mentioned anything about this at all. I didn't know if they were totally unaware of it, but
yes, he came. All right, we're trying to,
And
now
I
that
know
we
he-
have, Jeannie, now that we have more staff, we're trying to up our game on that. So everybody's getting caught up on records, and that should be coming out with the next dogs.
Okay, that would be good. It would have been helpful. And we had an appointment with our vet before we even got him home for his ears because they were so bad. And the tail we think is anxiety. So he, since he's been with us for a couple months now, that seems to be improving. His tail is looking more normal. He's not ripping hair out of it like he was. So, you know, I mentioned these things and I just wondered, you know, how far the trail went back. I mean, who mentioned when he first started this kind of thing?
Right, right. Yeah, and if you went back in the evals, it might be in there. One of the things that Janet and I have talked about is putting together just a one-page form that gives the next person some information about that dog. So it's just one of those things that comes with time. Just, you know, so if you're getting a prison dog, then you have just some information about that dog, not a ton, just enough to, you know, their name, their birthday, all what you would need to know. So maybe that the dog has an ear infection. So yeah.
Oh, that's a serious thing in
Yes,
Golden.
it
That,
Yes,
you
it
know,
is.
and the anxiety thing is, you know, it has to be treated too. Especially
So-
Janet wants the dogs to look good when they're out, and he's got a bare tail.
Yeah.
Do we know the birth date of the beach litter?
August 14th, I believe. Is that right, Cheryl?
Ooh, they're almost a year.
August 14th, almost a year. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Thanks.
Tricia, I saw you. Any idea when Huey's going back? That's something that Kate would be able to tell you. And I don't know if everybody saw, but Carlina said anybody that's in the Jacksonville area wants to meet up, please let her know. We're also, so our training at the end of August will be near Tampa. You should have gotten an email about that yesterday. So anybody who's in that area or wants to make that trip over there, we're doing a training over there. And then September will be in this area again. And then October will be up towards Jacksonville somewhere, or St. Augustine, somewhere up that way. Yeah. So I think that's it. I cannot tell you right off the top of my head when the next Q&A is, but I know it's in August. I thought I had it on my calendar, but I don't think I do. So, but it's in August. If this is August 12th, it's probably the 20 something. And then,
Hello,
yes.
hello,
Hello.
hello.
Oh,
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
I just figured out to unmute. It took me a long time. I'm Cherokee's dad.
Hi. How are you?
David, yeah, hi,
Hi,
Wendy.
David.
I'm good. Listen, what's with his barking?
What's the Cherokee's barking?
Well, he learned from my son's dog, I think. He never made noise. But now he barks. I understand if he barks when I forget to put water in the bowl. I can understand that bark. But when we go to a restaurant or when I go somewhere, or more today, my air conditioner broke. A couple of people came in the house to see if they could fix it. He barks. I don't know. He's barks like barks.
How old is he now?
6. He's referring to childhood puppydom. He ate my sneaker.
Well, is he getting enough? First of all, is he getting enough exercise? And are you correcting that behavior, not letting him bark at all? You know,
I
are you
don't know how.
correcting the behavior?
I'm trying. I say to him, quiet, good boy, and then I
Well,
give him something else to do.
That's in the same
No?
voice as praising him for doing it. You want to do a leash correction and, tell
Oh,
him,
well,
be sharp.
yeah.
No, don't you do that. Be firm.
Okay, well, that I do. I have a good voice for that. So
Use your voice for, be sterner, be more consistent.
all right. Well, okay, be stern. Janet, this is you, right?
Don't let him get away with anything, David.
No, I try not to, but he barks. No matter what I do.
Like she said, you've got to be firm with him. It can't be a friendly, quiet. It has to be super firm so he knows.
Oh, well, I'm
you're
pretty
serious.
firm, but I'll do that. I'm listening to you. I am listening to you guys. I will do that. And that's the only thing. I give him plenty of exercise. We go out in the back and I throw a ball and he runs. So it's pretty good exercise.
Well, if he's barking in public, he's not allowed to be out in public.
All right. So I shouldn't take him. I shouldn't go anywhere.
Well, or you need to work on that, because if he's being obnoxious, you can be asked to leave.
Yep.
So you're going to have to get that under control.
Right. I mean, it's interesting because if I go to a doctor's office, if I go somewhere, he goes right down. I have to tell him he's really good about many of the things. But a restaurant with his food, he gets like very crazy. I must admit, he's like a junkyard
So
book. He'll eat
we
anything.
need to get together and work on that. So.
Oh, okay. I'll come up, or if you come down, or whenever, let me know.
Okay.
You want me to come up? I'll come up, because it's really, we got to work on him. He's such a
You
good
may need to
dog.
come up here, because I'm not sure when I'm coming down there. So we can
Yeah,
talk
okay.
privately. David, get in touch with me.
Okay, I'll call you. All right.
Okay.
Have a good night, everybody.
Talk to
Thank
you.
you. I'm not so mechanical. I couldn't get the voice over until I saw the unmute. Thanks,
good.
everyone. Your dolls. Thank you. And he's a good dog. I like him.
Good.
He's a good boy. Oh, just an aside. The woman upstairs from me was one of his trainers, but I don't know what her name was. She saw him and she screamed when she saw him. She recognized him. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was very cool. Very cool. Okie doke. Speak to
All
you
right,
soon.
David.
Bye bye.
Q&A. Q&A is Tuesday, August 24th at 7.
Yep, I just
So-
found it and I put in thing, and then the next in training is in Tampa at August 28th. Like I said, you should have received an email. Faith, I will text you about that, because I'm not sure that a black dog. A black dog is what you're talking about. Okay.
She said something like a black harness, because I said he pulls, and she goes, "Have you tried a black something?" And I'm like, "Send me the link, I'll get it."
It's called a black dog.
Black dog.
Yes.
Okay, if you send me a link, I'll get one and try it.
Thank
you.
All right, I think we are done. I will see you the 24th, and I'll see some of you on the 28th. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for raising our puppies. We couldn't do it without you. And we are out.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know how to
See you in the front yard, Nancy.
Hey, Laura, quick question, because I couldn't ask it real quick. Remember when I told you she growled at George?
Yeah.
Yeah. I meant to ask like Janet or Wendy and to say, because she liked Kathy, did like George. And even when I went up to George and I touched his hand and I told her, I says, "Come on." I says, and I hadn't smelled his hand, but he reached down, tried to pet her, and she just kept looking at it. She wouldn't take her eyes off him. And then she kind of started to roll over like she's going to lay down, let him rub the belly. And I said, "Oh, she likes that." But then he reached down to rub, and she sat back up, and their hair is still standing on the back of her neck. And it's the only one she's done it to is George, but I don't know if we should be leery of that with, or
Be
what she
leery
might,
of George.
Yeah.
not like George.
So just re-expose. Don't force her to come up close. But walk by, talk to him, let her just sit while he talks to you.
Yeah. Don't let her growl at him.
I kind of
Right.
don't.
If she
do that.
growls, it's quiet. And if she doesn't stop, then you move off and then maybe come back with her.
Okay.
But just keep re-exposing and letting her know that it's not okay to growl, but don't force her to go up to him.
No, because she backed up in the garage. And
She's done that with me too on the trail. People walking by, no problem. And there was one kid, he was barefooted, I don't know, but yeah, he was coming towards us and all of a sudden, like she knew something I didn't, but
right,
growling at him, and he walked by, turned around, came back the other way again, and I don't know,
Well,
it was just weird.
My feeling is if a dog growls at somebody, I would be leery of the person.
Right.
Right.
That's what I was thinking too.
Well, that's great because one of them is our neighbor.
The one between our houses.
Sometimes dogs know better than we do.
Yeah. So, all right. We wanted to make sure because we weren't sure how to handle that because she backed up in the garage with George first and just barked. And then the deepest growl came out of her. And I'm like, oh, where did that come from?
Wow.
Yeah.
Nobody really.
No, she's generally friendly, but not with him. Mm-mm.
Well, like I say, let her know that growling isn't okay, but don't force her to be with him.
Okay.
I would, that's when I would use some treats. It may be the way he looks, it may be the hat, it may be a scent. Use some treats and see if, have him sit down, look at him from the dog's point of view. Is there something different the way he walks? Does he have a limp?
Did he have a hat on?
No, it's just George.
Oh,
George.
Laura knows it's just George.
Just George.
It's
Oh.
Is this a dog? Is this a dog that just came out of prison?
No, it's a breeder. It's a breeder.
No, this is Roomba.
Breeder.
Yeah, breeder. Little Miss Roomba. So
okay.
She's
okay.
I said she's good everywhere else, but not George. So but all right. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Wendy.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you.
I'm out.
Have a good night.
You too.
Going out front, Laura?